Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Grillin' JR with the voice of wrestling, the Hall of Famer himself, good old JR, Jim Ross. Jim, how are you, man?
I'm good, Connie. Better than I deserve to be, probably. It's a huge week in my world, and for some of those that join us on Wednesday night from Charlotte, you know, that's how it started. I got another trip I'm making to Baltimore, not only to be at StarCast, but also to do a little play-by-play for Full Gear. And I can tell you, Conrad, this is reminiscent of when I was younger and very emotionally invested in what I was doing as far as work was concerned. I've looked forward to packing. I was, talking before we recorded this show, I've been trying to get packs since, Sunday. I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to see how this team's going to play this week, our young group of guys and gals, and see what they're learning. And if they're putting to use what they are learning, because that's part of our process. So it's going to be a fun week, an eye-opening week. I think a lot of talents between their performances on Wednesday and Saturday night on pay-per-view are going to do a lot for themselves or not on their wealth or not their wealth, their value, because everybody's always auditioning. And so what is my value? Your value is what you provided on your last opportunity. So that's what we all got that opportunity to do this week, is kick some ass. And I think it's going to be a fun night, both nights. Wednesday night's good, happy. But man, I'm jacked up about this Saturday night show.
Yeah, listen, I think everybody's jacked up. Baltimore is a wrestling hub, and there's so much wrestling history there, and you'll get to enjoy it with StarCast 4 in Baltimore, and of course, Full Gear. I'm sure we'll be talking that as we continue down our show today, but let's get things kicked off, man. We made this our hashtag Ask JR episode. This is your chance to ask the voice of professional wrestling anything you want, and we're going to try to get through as many of these as we can. Jim, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Jeff writes in, how do you respond to those people who call wrestling fake?
Well, I think it's the wrong word to use. Wrestling is a theatrical performance, obviously. For many of us, we've known that for quite some time. And the actors within this body of work perform their own stunts. They also perform multiple live shows per year. So fake is probably not the right way to describe it. I think predetermined, the outcomes being predetermined is one thing, but the course of getting from the opening bell to the closing bell is not fake. There's not a mysterious bed of air that prevents you from hitting the mat hard or getting hit in the face or whatever. It's the act of humans trying to fight. so that they're so good at what they do that we forget that they are in a performance. So I think fake is a bad way to describe it.
I would agree. Let's keep it moving here. This is a deep cut here. I can't wait to see your reaction. Bad Money Slim, friend of the show, wants to know your memories of the train wreck that was Triple H Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003.
Scott Steiner. Oh, well, they had no chemistry, and neither wanted to go out of their way, seemingly, to make the other guy look as good as he could have. These things are not a cappella deals. There's a symmetry and a teamwork and a some degree of unity that has to exist when a match is booked and when the talents get in the ring to perform it. These guys I don't know if it was they didn't like each other. I'm sure there were issues. I don't recall them ever spending the holidays together. But so I would just say it was a lack of chemistry and cooperation. And both guys, quite frankly, at that point in their life, could have been a little bit more professional.
Jay wants to know, what are some of your favorite cities to visit while you're working or otherwise?
Oh my goodness. I'm so lucky in this deal. When the jovial, chubby cheek Oklahoma boy comes out with that hat on, I never seemingly have met a stranger. I'm easy to talk to. I'm easy to approach, unless I'm standing at the urinal, and of course my hands are full, or I'm eating. So those are not good times. Just as a heads up for those. But a lot of cities are great. I mean, I love the warm weather places. I'm a warm weather guy. I've had great times, and I've had some great times in Toronto. I had a wonderful experience one night in my hotel room in Montreal, and I don't think either one of us knew what the hell we were talking about because she spoke French and I spoke something else. But it's just great. You could always I'm a foodie. I like to go different cities. Always offer there's somewhere in that city. Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe and I we had a big show in Manchester, England, and we wanted a place to go eat, local or whatever. And so the guy gave us a direction over to Chinatown in Manchester, a walk from the hotel we were staying at. It was one of the best experiences, most fun nights I've had in my career. The food was unbelievably delicious, and we drank a lot of sake, and it's a chilly night, and the warm sake. I got drunk. Patterson got drunk. Briscoe got drunk, and we ate and laughed how much we appreciated Vince buying our booze and our food. But little things like that's what you remember. I can tell you that right now. Little things like that, and then going to Japan, being taken to a bathhouse by the Yakuza when some of our party had tattoos and they still got in. Tony Shaw and I were laughing about that experience the other day. It's just amazing, the things we've been able to do. But the point back to that trip was that was cool because of we took on a little dark side of the culture. It was kind of mysterious and adventuresome. But the food that we were able to, that they provided for us was simply amazing. So I love the travel. That's why, I'm getting this job with AEW. Tony Khan saved my life. I believe that. Because I like getting up now. I like going somewhere. Every Tuesday morning, man, I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock at the latest. Catch a plane, first flight out, boom, going to the city to have our production meeting on Tuesday night, and then our show on Wednesday. So I got a direction now and a destination, and all of them are fun. You make them fun. I go on Twitter at JR's BBQ Conrad and say, what's the best barbecue place in Baltimore? I'll get endless suggestions. And I love that about our fans and the fact that they enjoy watching me eat, I guess.
Let's talk a little bit about Saturday morning TV. Jay Stovall writes in, growing up as a youth, I was a big fan of Saturday morning programming, especially watching Action Zone and Livewire. Do you have any good Todd Pettengill stories? I feel like he doesn't get talked about very much.
Todd probably was an underrated guy. He did more knowing less product knowledge to just about anybody I can think of. But I never had issues with him whatsoever. He was not he was not an egomaniac in my eyes. But that's from one egomaniac proving me, talking about him. He may have been one, I just didn't see it. But he was a good guy to work around. He was talented as hell. I remember one time Todd Petco got the biggest laugh on a thing with the McMahons. I can't remember where we were, but he had this idea. And Linda was there, and Linda always thought Todd was hilarious. And he was a funny guy. So Todd imitated a wrestling announcer with Tourette's, and to be honest with you, it was funnier than hell. But you obviously can't do it on TV because you're mocking someone that has an issue. But I remember Linda loved it. Todd was a good guy. He was a player. He had a great gig going with Scott Shannon in New York City in the mornings at WPLJ. But I consider him a friend. But he wasn't an ego guy. Probably a little underrated as far as wrestling fans are concerned. But you got to understand, he got by with the credibility that he needed to, and knowing less than you would ever dream. So that means to me, he understood how to process what he knew and how to communicate it. So that's talent.
Okay. Fabe wants to know, what's a key skill of being a professional broadcaster / commentator that most people don't think is important when pertaining to the job?
Oh, preparation. Preparation. I was just going through notes when I packed to leave Oklahoma to go on this trip, and I've got every note on the talent, the bios that Alex Marvez is so kind enough to provide us. I got everyone he's ever distributed since we started this business. So I got bios in every talent multiple times, and it changes because the results of last week changes. You bring the stories forward, but preparation is probably the biggest thing. And little things like when you're calling a live event, you have to utilize the monitor and not your eyesight as much as you would think. So you need to be fixated on the monitor because the monitor is what we're seeing at home, and it's your job to describe or add a narrative to that lyric to that music that they're seeing or hearing. So but preparation to me has always been the key thing. And that means a lot of things. It doesn't mean how tall are they, what town they come from, or how many titles have they won and all that stuff. Know something about them and understand that who you are, where your audience is. And it's just like pay-per-view is a little different than Wednesday night for us. For me, it is because there's no TV time. There's no commercials. So, but preparation is the biggest thing. And that goes for a lot of things, guys. If you're a broadcaster, you want to be a broadcaster, you want to do baseball or hockey or whatever, you got to prepare. You got to know who the players are. You got to know what the game plan is, what it's going to take this team to win, what it's going to take this other team to win, and then have all that stuff filed away where it's automatic. It's on an automatic recall so that you can focus on getting into the flow of what you're seeing and adding the correct narrative. So prep work is the key to success in my view.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get lots of prep work with the brand new WWE 2K20. And if you pick up the deluxe edition, you're going to get 35% savings. How about that?
Ooh, that's good.
Not only do you get the SmackDown 20th anniversary edition, which has digital content featuring Hulk Hogan, China, the $500 version of The Rock, or $500 shirt version rather of The Rock and Sock Connection version of Mankind. You also get the pre-order bonus pack, Bump in the Night, which has the brand new character, The Fiend, and your new champ, Bray Wyatt. Of course, you get the WWE 2K20 Accelerator and My Player Kickstart. But the real showcase this year, well, it's all about the groundbreaking journey of the Four Horsewomen and the women's evolution. You'll follow their start from NXT to this year, where the women finally headline WrestleMania for the first time. Of course, the Four Horsewomen, we're talking about the cover superstar Becky Lynch, our great friend of the show, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. And they're going to describe their journey to bring women's wrestling to the forefront of WWE in their own words, with live action footage that's exclusive to this game. And for the first time ever in WWE 2K history, you can play as both a female and a male character in My Career You can unlock legends, original characters, unique environments, and make your way from the indies to the Hall of Fame. And My Career is fully voiced. How about more than 40 superstars, legends, and of course, this is going to be the most robust and best My Career experience yet. I mean, the most voiced for certain. You also get 2K Towers Roman's Reign. There's a whole spotlight on Roman and his march through the WWE. Of course, he's going to pick up some titles along the way, and you'll play 16 matches to live out those key chapters in his career. And also,
Big dog.
Yeah, the big dog. There
Big dog. Oh, hurt myself.
You got the stuff with the Shields included there, all the rivalries with Lesnar and Cena and The Undertaker, and of course, more live action footage from the big dog himself. Never before seen stuff. All in all, kids, how about the roster has over 180 of your favorite superstars, legends, Hall of Famers, the NXT talent, and so many more characters you've never seen that you just really need to see to believe. You can play as the superstars from the day, guys like Samoa Joe or Seth Rollins or Braun Strowman or Brock Lesnar. And of course, all the legends, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, Sting, and more. It's available now on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. And our great close friend of the show, Mr. Dave Silva, aka Bull Ramos, his kid just got this deluxe edition, and man, they are wearing it out in his house. They're loving it. I think they've already made characters for you and I, and we may actually wrestle in this game. So you can do anything with this game.
Hey, I think that 2K, a great idea would be to bring JR into the game just so people could beat the shit out of me.
Sure.
Well, Rollins could kick my ass. Becky kicked my ass. Vince could kick my ass again. There's a lot of that could go around. So it could be, I'll suggest that's Bryce Yang. He's the brains behind that outfit. So I don't think I'll get too far with the suggestion, but you never know.
Well, you never know. Check it out. It is available now, no matter where you play your games, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or PC. And supposedly they're uploading new stuff all the time for this game. So it's not just one and done with what you get in the box. Now, because you're connected to the internet, you can get these updates, and this game evolves with you. So check it out. WWE 2K20. We're great friends with Bryce and Ramon. They take care of us. They listen to this show every week. They're just like me and you. They're wrestling fans. So check out this game and support them when you can. Let's keep it going here. Earl wants to know, I have a culinary question, if you will.
All right, Earl.
In preparation for a big tailgating party, would making a marinade of JR's barbecue sauce and Blue Chew be the best way to get your meat ready for the party?
Well, Earl, it would depend on what meat you're talking about, Earl, you little dirty-minded bastard. I'd say no on that one, Earl. I took it to the big guy. I went the wall for you here, Earl. The answer is a negative. Sorry.
Wow, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I really am.
Brian Kaufmann has another barbecue question. He wants to know Eastern or Western North Carolina style.
Look, Brian, let me tell you something, Brian. Barbecue is like women. The worst I ever had was pretty damn good.
Oh my gosh. Listen how fired up you are. I feel like we should just do it right now. If you love sex, you'll love Blue Chew. It's not just good for your marinade. It's good for your homegrown meat. Blue Chew offers men a performance enhancement for the bedroom. So if you're looking to stomp it like a government mule, well, here you go. At bluechew.com, you can get the world's first chewable with active ingredients, just like Viagra and Cialis. And you'll work with one of their affiliated physicians at bluechew.com to find the right dosage and active ingredient that's best for you. Now, because you skip the in-person doctor visit, it's also cheaper. But even better than that, it can work faster because it's chewable. You can even take it on a full or empty stomach. And if you qualify, once you're prescribed, they'll ship it to you discreetly. So no awkward conversation, no waiting in line. These chewables are here in the US of A, and they're going to give you the confidence you're looking for in bed every single time. So what are you waiting for? Chew it and do it. And here's a great deal for you guys. Visit bluechew.com right now, and your first order is free. I don't know how they're making money with that. They must know you're going to love the way it makes your dick feel. Check it out right now. BlueChew.com. Use that promo code JR and you'll just pay $5 shipping. That's BLUECHEW.com, BlueChew.com. And the promo code is JR. Good God Almighty. What do you think, JR? Is Blue Chew over in the wrestling world at this point or what?
Oh, it's the most widely used supplement I would predict right now in the biz, folks. And here's the deal. We have women viewers and listeners as well, as we know that.
Both of them.
And so, yeah, three of them. So when Conrad said Dick, he didn't really mean it. He meant Richard. He could have said penis. He could have said, whatever. Whatever. There's a lot of things. But it works. And the reason that they do free, except the $5, good Lord, is the fact that they know you're going to reorder because it's that damn good. So folks, I'm telling you, you'd be very shocked of of our peers within the business who have less to protect than Conrad and I, because I don't give a damn. I'm a very open, honest guy. And so when I need to use a Blue Chew, I damn sure have them on hand. And they have never failed me yet. I'm knocking on wood as I speak.
Well, I don't know what you're knocking on, but let me say, when I was at TV last week, and lots of guys listen to the podcast, of course, and I had more than one of the boys come over and do one of those, look to the left and look to the right. And then they would say, "Hey, you got any chew on you?" I mean, this thing is not just for guys who maybe have an issue. It's guys who just want to, put their Peter meat on the gas, get a little, enhancement, get a little confidence booster.
And don't go into this proposition, folks, thinking, well, if I order Blue Chew, I've admitted I have an issue. I have ED. Okay, first of all, many hillbillies like me don't even know what ED means. Ed, what? You got Ed? Okay, hey, Conrad's got Ed. Anybody know Ed? The deal is that it lets you go a little farther than you normally would go, lets you run a little faster, lets you run a little harder. Everything's a good deal. And the thing, by knowing you're taking it, because you feel it, because it's chewable, you feel it really quick that this is going to work for you if you're in the right frame of mind. It works quick and it works very well every time. So to not try it on this offer that we're telling you about doesn't make any sense to me. It's a great offer. I tell my friends all the time. I got friends that now, I use that $5 deal, and I order it all the time. Well, there you go. It works.
Check it out, bluechew.com. Use that promo code JR. You're just going to pay $5 shipping, and then you're good to go. Mike Whitaker wants to know, if Bruce Pritchard, Tony Schiavone, and Eric Bischoff each started their own wrestling company, how would you rank them?
Dumb, and dumber. None of those guys are silly enough to even entertain that idea. However, in the spirit of your fantasy and your fantasy booking IE question, Bischoff probably is the most structured businessman. And I don't know that Tony and Bruce would have that commitment on the structural side, because Tony will probably be the second guy, and then probably Bruce coming up at the end. And not because Bruce is not a businessman. He's a creative businessman. That's just forte, creativity. And some of those creative cats are not as structured and buttoned up as other guys are. So therefore, I would say that Bruce probably, as a business side, is not quite as buttoned up as Bischoff, but they're very good at the specific things that they do. It's not just one. It's not one. It's like socks anymore. One size fits all. This ain't a one size fit all deal.
No argument for me. Let's keep it moving here. This is a fun one. Deplorable Hombre wants to know, inquiring minds want to know, as far as non-competitors like announcers and commentators, as far as you know, is AEW chocolate cake friendly?
Yes, they are. At least I think they are. Chocolate cake, the old buzzword, Heenan's buzzword for pot. I haven't seen anybody smoking pot at the building, to be honest with you, or at the hotel, but I've never heard it discussed. I've never heard any of our, and we've all had documents presented to us and things of that nature to explain company policies, but it's not an everyday discussion. Therefore, it is perceived, in my view, at least in my professional opinion, that we don't have any significant issues whatsoever at this time. But humans are humans. They can fall off the wagon. They can make mistakes. But I don't think there's any big issues there right now. These kids are so damn young, many of them, and hungry, and seeing opportunity that's lying before their eyes. So they're not making 25 or 40 or 50 or maybe $100 a night on an indie show. They got a chance to really make some money. And I tell these guys this all the time. Don't screw this up. I had a great talk the other day with the Lucha Brothers. I said, man, you guys are as good at tag teams I think I've seen maybe forever. The only thing that's going to stop you is yourself. And that goes for almost everybody else just in this locker room. So don't screw up. And they're great kids. They get it. Hey, this is for your family, man. This is not one of those, we're not writing country songs here. But you got a chance to change your life in this company. So why wouldn't you try that? Why wouldn't you be the best you can be and see where it takes you with no fun and games? So that's, if there's any issues there. But I think, I don't know that there's any chocolate cake referendums ongoing, Conrad. You haven't heard of it, have you?
Oh no, I it's never come up. This is the first time I've ever even considered that might be a question.
Yeah. I think we're good there, buddy.
Mike Dolman wants to know, what might it sound like if Gordon Soley were to promote Blue Chew?
Well, my cock has never been harder since, maybe 47, 48. It was at Thez era. And now it's harder than a cat could scratch. It's hard.
Mr. Perfect Fan Canada writes, the downfall of JCP has been fairly well documented over the years. A lot of common mistakes are brought up that sped up the death. If someone could have avoided some or all of those mistakes, would McMahon have still found another way to wipe the company out?
It would have been challenging. The issue that Turner had refused to yield their muscle with the cable and satellite, cable and pay-per-view companies, all the broadcast partners and entities. They had a big group of those guys, big players in the cable world that were on Turner's stockholders and big investors. If he could have ever pulled that together to where they could have seen what the potential of pay-per-view was and have product knowledge of pro wrestling, which they did not. Then, because at that point, they didn't really know what they had. And that was unfortunate. But I don't think, I think the Thanksgiving, Crockett didn't have the working capital to fund too many failures. And that's what happened. And the knockout punch, of course, was, the head-to-head on Thanksgiving night. And that killed all that. And there's a lot of money invested in that deal, and a lot of money, but I think there was a lot of money on the line there based on what the perceived income would be. So we'll get this to come in. This cash show will definitely be here after the pay-per-view. No, it wasn't. It died a natural death because McMahon went head-to-head against us. And of course, then when we turned around and did the same thing, and that Clash won, it caused a big old, pissing contest. And so then the cable system said, well, we just came off WrestleMania 3. McMahon's made us a lot of money. A bird in the hands worth two in the bush. They didn't look at the big picture. They did not look at the long term. And they didn't look at their broadcast partner, Ted Turner. So there's a lot of misconnections, a lot of bad management. But I think if the game could have stayed somewhat equal as far as the pay-per-view distribution, that Crockett would have been just fine, quite frankly.
Matt Wright wants to know, how well did the Von Erichs sell tickets in Mid-South?
They sold good. They sold well, especially in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and the reason for that is that not every hours in Mid-South had a syndicated world-class championship wrestling show, but most of them had cable systems that carried Channel 11 out of Dallas, Fort Worth. They carried the Von Erichs Saturday night show, 2-hour show. I think from I can't remember off the top of my head if it was from I think it was from Sportatorium, or it might have been the place in Fort Worth. Anyway, that cable show got good ratings, and it got great reach and it created great name identity for the Von Erichs. And through that cable show, and of course, then their syndicated show, if you were lucky enough to get that, and just enforce the fact that these kids are special and that they were main event stars and that you get a rare opportunity to see them come in. And Watts is good about booking them, is they would always usually go over, but it wasn't without a struggle. And then it might be some at the end where they'd shoot an angle for the next show to give them a better reason to return. But yeah, they did well. They contributed to us. I could tell you that, there was one time they came to Tulsa, and Cowboy comes in. I'm doing the TV, helping put the TV together with whoever was booking at that time. And so we got Kerry is there, Kevin is there, and Chris. Chris is just tagging along, and I couldn't find him. And I finally found him near the babyface locker room out in the hallway behind a row of folding chairs, lying on the floor, asleep. And then I went into the babyface locker room, and I had to get somebody to tie Kerry's boots. And it was sad. And so then the Cowboy comes in, how's everything going? I said, well, not so great. So like any promoter, he don't want to hear any bad news. So what is it? I said, well, of course, Fritz is his partner. I said, two of your partner's sons are having a little problem here tonight. One's right over here. And I took him over there. And Bill, is he dead? No, he's not dead. He's passed out. And then Kerry is having trouble tying his shoes. So I can't remember some good dudes, a referee, maybe somebody, had tied his boots for him. It was that was the Wild West, man. And guess what? You say, well, you didn't let them wrestle, did you? They sure as hell did. Was the right decision to make? Of course not. Of course not. It wasn't my decision. Well, whether it was or it wasn't, it was not the right decision. But the fans paid for the Von Erichs, and goddamn it, they got the Von Erichs. And the irony of this is, those kids, Kerry especially, I don't think Kevin was nearly that kind of shape at that point. At least I saw. But man, when that light came on, and that music hit, and that crowd cheered, and boy, Kerry Von Erich at one time was hotter than donut grease. He was hotter than fucking Elvis. And he sexuality and animal magnetism. Mr. Bourne, oh my God, he was sexy. So yeah, they helped us a lot. And it's just that what I say on the show, Conrad, what's the most valuable trait that you can have if you're going to be a wrestler? Reliability. You can't rely on them. You can't plan anything big for them.
Let's keep it moving here. Really fun question here from Ronnie Justice. He says, do you think if given a fair shot to succeed, you and Cornette could have been just as good as you and King? Corny has said multiple times that Dunn and Russo did not like that much Southern on one show. I liked you guys together. Thanks for the lifetime of memories. What's interesting about that is Lawler's from Tennessee, so he's a Southern guy, but maybe it would have been a little too Southern for it to be Cornette and Jim Ross. What do you think, though? Could that duo have worked long term?
Cornette was a Kentuckian, as we know. Absolutely. There were times when there were shows that Corny and I had together, clashes or pay-per-views or our TV Friday night shows where we had a nice fat match to call, that he was as good as I ever worked with. But there's always, both of us have big mouths, and both of us are kind of too political at times in our business. At least I know I was. So there's always something that imploded our duo, but he was really, really good. To say that we would be better than the King and JR, or as I prefer to call it in Oklahoma, JR and the King, hard to say. Because Lawler and I worked through, if you think about it, some amazing times in the history of our business. Amazing times. Life, death, all kinds of things. Monday Night Wars, 83 weeks getting our ass kicked in a row, steered the course, all the things we endured and we worked through and came out on the other side. I think it was an amazing asset to WWE. And I'm sure they would say the same thing in the right audience. But I really, Lawler was special. But Cornette was really, really effing good. Really good. And look, so there's other guys. Terry Funk was underrated as hell. When he was focused and wanted to go, jeez, to try to duel him mentally? Are you kidding? He was amazing. So I've had, and Heenan, God bless him. He had a birthday recently. As talented a human being as I've ever seen in the wrestling business, and I'm sitting in my office talking about looking at a signed picture of Dwayne Johnson, a big movie poster from his Walking Tall movie. I love that movie. I love the other one too, the original with Buford Pusser story. But Heenan was the best overall performer that I've ever seen with my eyes in the wrestling business. A heel, a psychologically sound heel, of which there are very few of today whatsoever. He was a master at it. He was as good a manager as I ever saw. There's not a better manager than Bobby Heenan ever in the business, ever. Well, what about? So get out of your basement, kids. Put the Kleenex up, okay? Listen to Uncle JR here with you. Then you can go in your little Google machine and you can figure this shit out. And stay off the porn channels. Yeah, Bobby Heenan, the best I ever saw. And the TV host, TV color analyst, God, he's amazing. And go back and look at any of his work, folks, in any of those areas that I just described, job descriptions, and tell me he wasn't as good as you ever saw doing that role. Oh, by the way, he's good, but because I ever saw doing this role, the best. So Bobby Heenan's always the number one MVP to me because he could do more things better than anybody I've ever seen.
Ringside Rant wants to know, JR, if you were to book a stadium show for AEW, where would you book it and what would your main event be?
God, man. Well, I mean, what year? Like 19 to 2020? Look, you got a core there. You got a core talent that Tony Khan has invested heavily in. Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Now, there's other cats there getting paid a lot of money too, but I would say they're the top four guys. So I told some kids here in AEW the other day, I said, everybody wants to sell T-shirts. I think you got to be a babyface to sell T-shirts. You don't. Not in this world. So that's good for you. I said, but we got four guys, and I just named them, and they are getting paid a lot of money, rightfully so, and they're occupying a position on the team as babyface. That's the position they play. So let's say if that's remotely true, and you still are on your quest to be a babyface at AEW, right now, the way I see it, the best you're going to do is number 5. If you drop down just a little bit, you're already at number 6. So I ask you, who is the number 1 heel? Well, that's obvious. Chris Jericho, trying to get packed there. Moxley's got to be figuring the other mix of those other 4 guys. The way to make money right now in wrestling is to be a believable heel that understands the psychology of wrestling, that understands that he or she must be able to feed a multiple spot comeback. Staggering and falling on your flat back ain't it. Feeding a multiple spot comeback is what is a necessity for any heel worth a damn. So I'm the heel thing is big to me, but I don't know what I book. You're gonna book Cody and something. You're gonna book, maybe it's the blow off of Cody and Jericho. Hell, I don't know. The Bucks got to be. We're going to have a lot of great tag teams as these young kids get better and better. But you got to have the Bucks involved in something. Maybe it's another big ladder match or a TLC match with the Bucks, something along those lines. And then Kenny Omega, and his issue right now is John Moxley should be money for us this Saturday night. But when going forward, Conrad, I don't know. But it's hard to say. But and a dome, we're not ready for a dome right now. I wouldn't even entertain that thought. We're not ready for a dome right now, but that's not a bad thing. We're building a brand. We've had a half a dozen shows or so. So dome is premature, in my view.
Steve Hinchcliffe wants to know, if you had to pick just one of your sauces, what would it be? And what would you cook for Conrad to accompany it?
Well, my best sauce, there's a lot of ways to look at this, but the straight answer would be my best sauce is JR's Original. Because JR's Original is the motivation for that was my mother's barbecue sauce that she made in a saucepan on a stovetop in our little 4-room concrete block house in Oklahoma. And we had a screen doors because we didn't have any air conditioning. So when she would cook, the door would be open, and that aroma would go right through the screen door, right outside where I was playing or doing something. So that's what we replicated that. So the original barbecue sauce, I said it's grandma friendly. It's kind of sweet. It's not vinegary. But I think my mustard is amazing. It's got, I think, 1 gram of sugar in it. It's jalapeno honey mustard. It's amazing. It's really terrific. And I think that the chipotle ketchup, when warmed up, is a really interesting steak sauce. So, matter of fact, I just got a partnership with a guy this week. A friend of mine that I've been working with on some other projects. He's going to help us create a website that we're going to have a warehouse here in Norman, and we're going to process our own orders. We're going to ship our own products, and we're going to try our hand at that and see how it goes. I want to be in control of my destiny, and if we don't have good customer service, it's on my ass. I don't have a problem with that, but we will have good customer service, and if we don't, we'll fix it. But we're going to be able to sell stuff and hopefully have it open by Black Friday. That's our goal. So, things are growing nicely, but the original barbecue sauce is the money. And I would probably make Conrad, Conrad and I got to be smarter. We got to eat more turkey and chicken. So I'd probably smoke Conrad some turkey, but just to back up with a steak chaser.
Steak chaser. I love it. Jamie Waldrop wants to know, if given the book in 89 versus a committee, what direction would you have taken the company? No corporate politics. You have complete control to hire, fire, and book.
Wow. That's a pretty broad scoping question. I would not have discarded the incumbents that had name identity, but I would use those individuals to make new stars. We fall in love with these characters, as Vince told me about Mick Foley. That's why I said you should not hire Mick Foley. He's going to break your heart. And that never hadn't happened yet, so I think we're good. But I appreciate what Vince is trying to tell me. He's trying to prepare me for heartbreak from talents. And I can tell you there's plenty of talents I work with that down near come near breaking your heart than not, because they just failed. They failed in a lot of areas, but they failed, and you didn't think they would. I don't know. What do you think, Conrad?
I don't know, man. It's an interesting question though, because
Flair's 89. We're coming off 3 Flair Steamboat matches were as good as any matches in the United States, in my opinion.
Well, those happened in 89, as did the Funk thing. So
I know, but what I'm saying, whatever I did going forward would include those guys.
Right.
Some shape, form, or fashion. Ric Flair versus blank. Ricky Steamboat versus blank. Terry Funk versus blank. They don't have to all be against each other, because all 3 of those incumbents I mentioned, Flair, Funk, and Steamboat, have the abilities to make anyone that they compete with and perform with better. And that's what you want these young guys to be, to get better. And by getting a win or a great performance or a time limit draw, anything along those lines with a Hall of Fame guy can't hurt you. If the announcers have got their head out of their ass, they can't hurt you. So I'd do something like that. But the object would also be, we've got to create some new stars, and who's it going to be? And I would not have had the confidence in Luger as a champion. I think he's a better chaser and a better heel. I think Sting, if you're going to build a territory and create a heel factory, Sting's a great babyface to have in place, in my view. So, and at one time, I would have endorsed Muta as being the NWA champion or the WCW champion. Without a doubt, something different, something global. And but that never happened either because there was never a consensus on that. I was kind of the last guy on the island on that deal. So, but I thought it'd be something different. And the women in our office love Muta. I knew that women liked his look, and he had great skills. He had the moonsault when everybody else was doing it, basically. So anyway, a lot of things like that. But you got to always look in your booking, who's the next big thing, and how am I getting there? Who is he or she, and how do I make them better?
Interesting question here, coming on the heels of that one, what you talked about with Muta. Brandy Wagner writes in and says, what does JR call his fans? Is there any special nickname for us female fans?
Ladies. No special names. Look, I'm a Southern guy. I could probably offend you because when you and me are talking, honey, I just call you honey just like that, or sugar, whatever. That's just, I ain't saying it's right, but I'm not saying it in the sense of trying to be salacious or distasteful or perverse. It's a way that we're raised in the South, rightly or wrongly. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what's embedded in me. And so, yeah, no, nothing special, but always with whatever it is, we'll be respectful.
Well, I'll tell you what, we know that the ladies loved Muta, and we also know that the ladies love JR. And one of the reasons the ladies are loving you these days is Manscaped, because they are number one in men's below the belt grooming. And they're supporting us here on Grilling JR. So we want to support Manscaped in return. In case you've been living under a rock, Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. And if you've ever, had a little bit of an accident while you were manscaping, man, have we got good news for you. Manscaped.
Yeah. Get guys, listen to me right now. Get control of the goddamn brush pile that's camouflaging your testicles. It's a brush pile. It's ugly. It could be stanky. And it just doesn't appear to be what you want when you think about it. So Conrad's telling you everything the truth here. Look, it's 2019, folks. Well, yeah, I told you, somebody said, well, it was a great line when JR said, the hair on his scrotum looked like those old coconuts in a grocery store, those long, stringy ass hairs. Well, they used to, but not anymore. Nowadays, I'm manscaped.
Oh man, there are so many things that I didn't know I would be in for when I started this podcast with you. I'm so glad I did. Listen, here's the deal, folks. JR has the new redesigned electric trimmer from Manscaped. We call it the Lawnmower 2.0. The reason JR is bragging about it is because it's got proprietary skin safe technology. What does that mean? Well, it's code for you're not going to nick or snag your nuts. Now, accidents when you're manscaping are finally a thing of the past. And to be clear, just hygienically, you wouldn't use the same trimmer on your face that you're using on your balls, would you? That's just nasty. They've also got a crop preserver. Now, what in the world is that? Well, it's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why aren't you putting armpits? Why are you putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code JR at manscaped.com. Always the right tools for the job. Your balls will thank you. And just because you listen to this show, we're going to get you 20% off and free shipping when you use our promo code JR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code JR. By the way, Manscaped is manscaped.com, manscaped.com. Use that promo code JR. You'll be glad you did.
You will. And get control of your goddamn brush file. You walk around like, good Lord, there's no reason for that. It's not good, guys. Unless you don't want your crotch to look like Davy Crockett's hat. Okay. You with me? Don't have your scrotum and all that surrounding area look like Davy Crockett's hat. Trim it up a little bit.
Talk to me a little bit about CM Punk. Great question here on Twitter. Matt Carlson wants to know, have you or would you speak to CM Punk, since I feel like you could be the perfect bridge for his return to wrestling, about the possibility of coming to AEW?
I have great respect for Phil Brooks. I truly do. And I think he's a marvelous performer. He's something that the business needs right now because he's real. He suspends your disbelief. Amazing storyteller. But I would love to sit down and talk to him just about, our friendship, just not necessarily going straight mainline into the heart of, okay, what's it going to take to get you back? Any idiot can ask that question. So I think maybe you discover those things on your own. You find out, where his head is and what he wants to do. Look, what if he just wants to do one match? Well, I would take him to do one match. I'd build it right. I'd get him back on TV, and I'd build it and build to one match, of course, on pay-per-view, so you can maximize your investment. But I don't know what Phil's commitment to the business right now would be. If he wanted to do it, I know he'd be all in. I'm just not sure that that's where his head is right now. He's exploring. He's got a movie out now that I think is very entertaining. He's getting some nice feedback, a horror movie. He's very happily married, it seems to me like. That's worth a lot, man. I can tell you that from fact. So I would love to sit down and talk with him just about stuff. But, and I think we would have a very productive conversation because we both think a lot in a lot of ways. But again, if he isn't of the mindset, Conrad, to want to get back into the business with any type of commitment, and we both know that it is a huge commitment, especially in today's world. So I don't know. I'd love to be able to talk with him. I'm going to be in Chicago the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and I think I'm going to stay in Chicago for 2 or 3 days. So maybe we'll accidentally run into each other and go have a Pepsi.
That'd be interesting. I think a lot of people would want to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Greg Bass wants to know, there's some legendary storytellers in and around the business. In your opinion, who tells the best stories, and can you give us one?
Oh my God.
That's a tough
one.
Well,
here's the deal. I'll say this. The best storytellers are generally the guys that had territory experience. And the next best story was the generation that followed those people into the business because they got trained by them, they were around them, they heard some of these stories, they experienced some of these stories, and then they got into the business on a level where they could actually, pay the rent and buy supper. But that's what I would say. But there's so many. The late Skandar Akbar was one of the best storytellers of all. Jimmy Weeba, from Vernon, Texas. His mom and dad were Lebanese immigrants. He was a strong man for real. The squatty fullback from Vernon, Texas. I used to piss him off so much because I would do play-by-play in the car of the Vernon Lions games where I would construct my play-by-play that the squatty fullback from Vernon, Texas gets stopped on the 1-yard line. They dropped him in his tracks. He hated it. He said, I should be scoring. I said, well, you're too squatty. So whatever. Great storyteller. And it was really fun to be around. But all those territory guys, man, they traveled by car. They were together all the time. And they didn't get paid if they didn't work. So if they could work 5 days a week or 6, what do you want to do? Well, I want to work 6 days a week or 7. So they were together all the time. Those stories gathered up. They're passing territory to territory. And you can imagine a kid that's 22 years old like me that's driving a car with Hodge and Akbar and Don Jardine, the Spoiler, and all these other cats. You can only imagine the stories I heard and what they told and what I learned from those guys. But a lot of the stories are salacious. They're about, their sexual escapades. And I didn't realize women were that loose. And I was so naive, I had no clue. So there's some great stories there in that regard. I remember the boys fixed me up this woman one time, and in Baton Rouge, she was a manager of a hotel. So she came to my room, predetermined from the boys, Hodge and Akbar and some other guys, dirty bastards, really bad guys. No, they're kidding. It was a great rib, but she was into S&M.
Oh.
Yeah. So the first thing she wanted to do is spank my ass. I said, well, this is where I'm taking out, honey. That's why I had that tattoo above my ass. Do not enter. We ain't going to enter there, and we ain't going to spank my ass. How's that for you? And she laughed. Everybody said this is what you'd say or something like that. But it was a setup because she was going to spank my rear and do other painful things to other parts of my anatomy that I chose to not participate. So stories like that, they're all salacious. They're sophomoric. They're Wild Westish, and some are distasteful, like that one I was told, or they are just harmless. You learn things. Akbar would take me to the buffet in Russellville, Arkansas, at one of those hotels here on the I-40. We get there at 2:30. The buffet would be off at 3. So we'd eat for 30 minutes straight, like we were going on the electric chair. And that would be the meal of the day. Or seriously, no breakfast. We're driving. That's our lunch. We go to the show in Little Rock, and then we drive back to Tulsa, 250 miles. There was no dinner. So you load up on the Chinese food, swell up, your feet swell up, your ankles swell up, everything, what you need swells up, and you had all you can eat for $2.95. Good life.
Charlie Thrower wants to know, Jim, what can you tell us about Vince McMahon, the person? We hear about the business side of him a lot, but can you speak on him as a husband, father, grandfather?
Well, look, Vince has overachieved his entire life in a big, big way. I got to know him very well. I still have great respect for him. He knows in his heart that if he needed me for anything, that's strong, that's serious, as a personal favor, or just as his friend, that I would be there, no doubt. And the same goes for me. I know that in my personal life, if something occurred that I needed to reach out to him, I know he would respond quickly and positively. So I always believe that he has a very good heart in that respect. I can't tell you all the things he did and said, offered when Jan got killed. That means a lot to me, folks. It's more than getting pissed off somebody because of they have a 3-hour Raw, and it shouldn't be in your view. Come on. So I think he's got. I think he's a workaholic. I think he's obsessed with this company he's built. I think he wouldn't say it, but there's nothing really more important or prominent. More important may not be the right word, but more prominent, it seems to me like, than WWE in his life. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it's a thing that is there. So he's hard-headed. We've had some of the most amazing conversations when we were by ourselves that I've ever had with any other human being in my life. So it's just the fact that I figured out how to communicate with him and he, me. And we always did better, the two of us. And, that's like my wife Jan said, Vince is a lot like Walt Disney or even Michael Jackson, to the degree that he didn't do well at times in other people's worlds. So he created his own world that he could be the king of and function better in. And at the end of the day, you start to think about it, that ain't a bad philosophy. Create your own space, be the king of that space where you're making the decision. So I got no bad things to say about Vince. He made me a lot of money that my kids and my grandkids will be spending someday. He's been a great friend when I lost the biggest thing in my life, my best friend and my wife. He was standing right there. So that means a lot.
One of the things I've always heard about Vince is that he would, or he still does, I guess, he works, his own schedule. So, there's business meetings that start at 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes he'll land in a town at 1 a.m. and then he'll just go straight to work out, but he's got meetings the next morning, regular business hour time. Does Vince ever sleep?
He told me one time that JR sleep is our enemy. Matter of fact, he's told me that more than one time. Sleep is our enemy. He believes that. That's a credo he has. I think he believes that he can get away with anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of sleep a day. And his body, he's lean. He trains a lot. He eats well. He eats a lot of protein. So I just think that he just is convinced himself that he doesn't require the sleep that most people do. And as long as psychologically he believes that, then it's going to work for him. But at some point in time, we all know it's just not the way it works. Your body's got to recharge. But he's amazing. He's 70-something, mid-70s, and he's still chopping the wood, man.
It's just fascinating to me because sleep's important, and the quality of your sleep affects the quality of your daily life. And if you've ever, been like on one of these JR marathon days where you have to get up early to catch a plane ride home and you wind up being stuck in the damn airport for 10 hours, it just keeps stretching. Your day keeps getting longer. And if you didn't get enough rest the night before, man, that's going to be a struggle. And if you're struggling to get a good night's sleep, you've got to try a Purple mattress. Now, the founders of Purple are two brothers who've been developing cushioning technology for like 3 decades. Now, usually it goes on stuff like medical beds and wheelchairs, but a few years ago, they decided to take their patented comfort technology to create Purple, the world's most scientific mattress. And the Purple mattress probably feels different than anything you've ever experienced. No, it's not memory foam. This is a brand new material developed by actual rocket scientists. And it feels very unique because it's both firm and soft at the same time. So it keeps everything supported, but it still feels really comfortable. Now, what's good for Jim and I is it's breathable, so it sleeps cool. And it even ends up giving you this like zero gravity feel. So it works for any sleeping position, whether you sleep on your back, your stomach. I'll sleep on my side. But here's how you know Purple is legit. They give you 100 night as a risk-free trial. 100 night risk-free trial. 100 nights. That's unbelievable. If you're not fully satisfied, return the thing for a full refund. That's how confident they are that you're going to love Purple. They even give you a 10-year warranty, free shipping and returns. Man, they'll even come set it up for free and take out the old mattress. You're going to love Purple. And right now, our listeners get a free Purple pillow with the purchase of a mattress. That's in addition to the great free gifts they're offering site-wide. Just text JR to 84-888. Now, the only way to get this free pillow is to text JR to 84-888. That's JR to 84888. Of course, message and data rates may apply, but Purple is legit. We just got one for the master bedroom. We've had one downstairs, but now we've got one. And I found that was necessary because the wife and I decided, hey, let's just go downstairs and sleep downstairs because we both need it.
You devil. You know what he's doing, folks? He's trying to make love to his wife in every room of their mansion.
Well, we've already done that. Come on. Oh my gosh. Listen, guys, Purple is legit. Text JR to 84-888. Go break in a new one. I think you're going to dig it.
And the other thing, Conrad, envision this. I have my CPAP mask on. I'm hovering with this almost state of animation in this Purple mattress. I'm breathing, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm collected. I'm hovering above the mattress seemingly in my Tom Cruise CPAP mask. It's a wonderful thing because I sleep wonderfully and I do not wake up tired and crabby and bitchy. That's what you need, folks. And as Conrad said, he kind of sold it pretty heavy there, right? The 100-night deal. Think about that. It's not like you try it for a week. You try it for 100 nights. It costs you nothing to get rid of the damn thing if you don't think it's working for you, but it will. So, if you're a sleep person, if you're just not sleeping well, or you think there's better money to spend your money on, better things to spend your money on, think again. Nothing's more important than your own health, and your own health starts with how you rest and recover. and Purple Mattress is the way to do it.
Purple Mattress is legit. Check it out. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about, Michael Patzer. He's got an interesting question. He says, on Raw, where Eric Bischoff's nephew, Eugene, debuts, Eugene comes out by the commentary desk and by you, and then he winds up paying homage to the Bushwhackers and starts licking King's head. Did King know that was coming, or was that a rib?
I think that was a little bit of a rib, cause, Jerry was not prepared for that. So the reaction you saw was pretty legit. I thought Nick Dinsmore did such a phenomenal job as Eugene. And obviously the character in today's world is very unpolitically correct, in the eyes of so many. And I get it. So, but boy, he was a good performer. Still is. Great worker, good teacher. He came out of that OVW group with Rip Rogers and Danny Davis and Jim Cornette and all those guys, Al Snow. So he was trained right. He and Rob Conway were a great team. We had a real good operation there at OVW. I was very proud to be associated with those dudes. But, and the other thing about that Nick Dinsmore is really impressive, Conrad. I bet you don't know this. He like many of my friends, including you, outpunted their coverage in marriage. He's married to Mrs. South Dakota and Stephanie Dinsmore. She's a beautiful woman, and they have their promotion there in South Dakota. So check them out sometimes, folks. It's always good to help the other guy. And he was one of our guys we recruited and signed, and I wish him and her nothing but the very best.
Let's do another question here. This one's from JR. He says, Adam Page is my new favorite wrestler. What do you think the ceiling is for the Hangman?
Well, we haven't seen it yet. I don't know that we realize what his ceiling might be. He's got a lot of really good qualities. There's no doubt about it. Smart guy. Knows what he's aware of what's going on. He's aware of what he needs to do to get better. And unlike a lot of guys, quite frankly, he's not unwilling to admit that I need to work on this, or I need to work on that, whatever it may be. So, hey, look, the guy graduated got a 4-year degree in 2 years or 2.5 years or something. He's 28 years old. He's been a school teacher. He's used his brain to formulate things and sort out things. So he knows he's got his body wise, there's things to do there. There's psychologically always get better there, but he's got a great look. He's a good talker. His cowboy shit line was approved by Turner. I knew he was going to say it, and it didn't move me one way or the other, but the crowd liked it. So then I saw a new T-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees, which, by the way, is doing a lot of neat stuff for a lot of people. And he had a cowboy shit shirt. So point being is that he's got a bright future. And people are going to say, it's like I said that young Eddie Guerrero reminded me of Sammy Guevara in certain little body types, emotions, carries himself, this Latino young, good-looking kid thing. And people got on my ass for it. So I guess I don't have the ability to give an opinion any longer, but I can't hear because this is Conrad and my show. I think Eddie Guerrero and this kid, Sammy Guevara, has some similar traits. That's all. And if it's only an appearance, so be it. I also thought that Sammy Guevara reminded me of Nick Diaz.
Nate Diaz, yeah. Well, either one of them. But yeah, Nate. Nick and Nate. I love those guys he got shattered on that damn fight. Stopping that fight was a bad move. It was bad for broadcast. New York State Athletic Commission flexing their muscles. It was a nasty ass cut, but I've seen worse. And he had one more round to go, right? Or was it 2 more rounds? So, bad stoppage, Conrad, and nonetheless. Let me ask you a question, JR. Have you ever heard of Daniel Cormier?
Well, of course I have. He's one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time.
Well, what about Masvidal?
Oh, yeah. Bad dude, but another UFC fighter. And officially, he is the baddest mother effer in the game after what we saw at against Nate Diaz. That's a hell of a fight.
What about old Bubba Watson?
PGA golfer, won the Masters a couple of times. Looks good. The green jacket.
What about Steve Smith Sr.?
Well, hell, he's a future Hall of Famer. Great receiver.
Do you know that you and I have something in common with all those guys?
We do.
We do. We're all a part of the roster at Team CBDMD. And if you've been under a rock, you need to go ahead and recognize that CBDMD is changing the game because they offer a wide variety of premium CBDMD oil products for when life comes at you from the top rope. All their products are sourced from hemp grown right here in the US of A. Third party ISO certified, laboratory tested to ensure a clean, safe, and effective product. Of course, it's all about their award-winning customer service. And check this out, a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's absolutely no risk. And JR, I know me and you have been talking about CBDMD for a long time, but of all the CBD products that we've used, CBDMD has got to be the favorite in my household. How about you?
Well, me too. It's a no-brainer. I've tried other CBD products, and I've had other companies offer me CBD products. So you kind of taste the water, taste the dessert, so to speak. And there's no contest. So the great thing Conrad and I do, folks, about our show, we do take pride in who advertises here and who we endorse. I mean, I'm not just going to say something for the hell of it for a couple of bucks. This is a great product. It helps my quality of life in so many areas, including my flexibilities. My joints feel better, and I'm 67 years old. I need for my joints to feel better. So I'm a big proponent of this, and I think if you can't lose by trying. You can only find out I can feel a lot better, and thank God I listened to good old JR, and I tried this product.
Here's the thing. They've got something for everybody. So if you're looking, I know, Jim, that you've talked about after the show, sometimes you want to put some on your feet. CBD Freeze is what you use. That's a topical. Maybe your wife would enjoy a CBD bath bomb. Maybe you need to try that for her. Maybe you're like me and you like the CBD gummies. They've got something for everybody. My dad is using the CBD sleep aids. And if you've got maybe an older pet, maybe that's suffering from a little bit of old age, check out the CBD pet products. That'll put a little pep in their step, or at least it happened that way in my household. But don't take my word for it. Go discover what CBD can do for you and save 20% off. CBD's industry leading price. Just use our promo code GRILL during your checkout at cbdmd.com. Now, to be clear, they've already got tremendous prices at CBDMD. If you're going to do some comparison shopping, you're going to find out they've got one of the most competitive prices, but they're giving you an additional 20% off. So you don't have to shop anymore. Just go straight to cbdmd.com. Use our promo code GRILL. That's GRILL. And you're going to get 20% off your next order of premium CBD oil products from CBDMD. And I can't recommend this enough. CBDMD, these guys, they listen to the show. They listen every single week. They're just like me and you. They're big wrestling fans who grew up loving JR as the voice of wrestling. And now they're helping people feel better and have a better quality of life. It's worked for my family. It'll work for your family. Why wouldn't you try it? Just take a look at it. I'm telling you, you're going to be intrigued. It's worth it. And they're even going to give you 20% off just to check it out when you use our promo code GRILL. That promo code is GRILL. And one more time, the website is cbdmd.com.
It goes in the road with me every trip, Conrad. This is it's like a valet for me, a personal valet. I feel better on so many fronts, thanks to the folks at cbdmd.com. They're great people. I love working with them. And the great thing, though, is that their product works. So try it, folks. You got nothing to lose.
If you've never used CBD, you got to use this. And why not start with our friends at cbdmd.com?
So, but anyway, I think Adam Paige does a few things, and well, this is going to get me damned out of the church. Adam Paige does a few things that are reminiscent, in my mind and the way I process things, to Steve Austin, early Steve Austin. And that means that Steve Austin and WCW, the attitudinal thing, the carrying himself, every step means something type guy. And how, so I'm not saying he's going to be the next Stone Cold. God, how good would that be in AEW? But these guys have got something because of these common traits that remind me of a predecessor that was truly great.
Let's take another question here about your hats. This comes from Michael. He wants to know, is there a particular brand of hat you've worn through your career, or do you switch it up?
Back in the day, I bought these hats off the shelf, right? Probably usually a Stetson or Resistol. Then for Christmas one year, I got a Resistol 100X. Hats are judged by how many X's they have on the band. And the top of the mark, I think, is 100, I think. So I got a black Resistol 100X hat from Stone Cold and his then wife, Deborah. And then the next year or a year after that, I got another one. So for a couple of years, I rolled with those. And then when Jan and I moved to Oklahoma, I heard this place called Shorty's Cowboy Hattery. Shorty's Cowboy Hattery. It's in the Stockyards district of Lee, and they make hats. So since I discovered those guys, I have them make my hats, and they're 100% beaver, little jacked up sweatband, little bit of quality. Cost you about $1,000, about $1,000. And I can call them on the phone and say who I am, and it's JR. I need to get the hat. They know I use 3 eyelets on each side. They know it's about a 4-inch brim hat, black, 100, the best you can buy. But they last you forever. These hats are going to long outlive me. They'll probably be on eBay someday. My kids try to say, "What do you think Dad's hats are worth?" So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Oklahoma City, Shorty's Cowboy Hattery, and they're one of the few hatteries they make. They get the basic fur, and they form it, do all the stuff. It's an amazing process, all custom made.
Another interesting question here from the Heel Pop. That's about a sensitive talent situation. He says, who made the call to have the ladies enhance their upper gimmicks like sable, china, etc.? Were you a part of those sensitive meetings? Please chat me up about this.
Society. It was a WWE decision. The women are not stupid. They knew what we were selling at that time, and for their gender.
Let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about Chris's question, because this is a good one. If you go back in time to 1997 and reverse Montreal, where Brett stays but Shawn leaves, would you do it? Why or why not?
My philosophy is kind of straightforward here. And it's kind of what I used to tell some of the talents. If you have an issue, then I've got an issue, because I'm representing you, and I need you to be happy and productive. But if I can't solve your problem, then we have no other alternative. If you collectively we cannot solve your problem, the only alternative we have is to eliminate it. So if a talent doesn't want to be there, if the talent wants to leave your team, if your talent's going to be a negative influence in the locker room, then I say let them go. Figure it out. Figure out a play, an exit strategy that doesn't sting as much, but don't let it linger. And off you go. So I wouldn't have had an issue either way. Hey, they're both great stars. They both, had amazing careers there. They both had a lot left in the tank, we thought. And even though both of them got injury issues, you can't go wrong if you got Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart on your team. But the one that wanted to leave should have been allowed to leave.
I don't know how anybody could really argue that, but it is sort of fun to fantasy book all of that.
Sure. I think about that stuff too from time to time. What if, the fantasy booking thing.
Well, let's fantasy book something else. Corey wants to know, should AEW bring in Bischoff? And if so, under what role?
There again, I haven't talked to Eric since he left WWE. I don't know that he's had his fill of daily or regular wrestling, or, where he's doing something on a regular basis. I know he's got his podcast that he does with you, and 83 Weeks, very successful, does very well, and we're happy to say that for Eric. And but I don't know what his long-term goals are. Would he want to be involved in an AEW? Is that something you enjoy really doing, having fun doing it, or it's just another payday type deal? He's got a lot to offer. There's no doubt about that. But he would have to be a manager or have to be some sort of authority figure type deal, or somebody's agent or something along those lines. He's not going to be. You eliminate certain roles for him because his skill set and his age. So he's not going to come in and be your top heel. He's not taking Jericho's spot. Duh. So some other more verbal role, but who knows? You have to ask him what he's interested in doing. So might be something he talks about on Mondays.
Fascinating question here. I'm curious on your take. David wants to know, will Earl Hebner ever make it to the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, certainly Earl should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. But I used to would say, oh no, he'll never make it. But the culture there is changing so much in that I thought over the years that the Hall of Fame should have more meaning. I've always thought that the Hall of Fame, I pitched this event one time, that the WWE Hall of Fame should have a line of merchandise. It should have gear and have opportunities for the Hall of Famers to go out and make extra money. And then of course you'd have a logo for the Hall of Fame, and that would be something that would be a shared revenue, shared royalty. I know the Heisman Trust has. I had lunch today with Steve Owens, who won the Heisman in '69 here in Norman at played at OU, and we were talking about their line of merchandise and how well it does, and it's not even promoted that much. It's a real good quality sports attire, and the Heisman brand. So anyway, that's what I would say about the Hall of Fame. I think it's been kind of. It seems like it's always a fast deal. Oh, we got to pick the Hall of Fame guys by Friday, and there should be more thought put into it and all that. I'd like to see that change a little bit for them, and not just because I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I have pride in it. I take pride in it. I still take pride in it. But I don't know. Hall of Fame is a tough subject for me to talk about. But Earl should be in it. But I don't know where the political landscape would be to encounter that, because here's the deal. Earl's biggest claim to fame, whether we like it or not, and he's a hell of a guy, a good friend, is the Montreal Screwjob. So somehow that's the origins of his becoming famous. And that might not be the topic you want to talk about. It's the same analogy I would give you by saying that Chris Benoit should never go in the Hall of Fame, because it's all going to be about him killing his wife and his little boy and committing suicide. All's redug up. You want to relive that again? You want another story? You want to have the reporters go interview other people, or 20 years later, whatever it would be? I don't think so. I don't need to relive any of that. So that's kind of how I look at that, Conrad. Earl should be in and be great for him, but I don't think it'll ever happen, quite frankly.
Tim Riggle wants to know, why does everyone hate Terry Taylor?
I don't know. Everybody hates Terry Taylor. Terry is can be a wise ass, and can be kind of sharp tongued. I think a lot of just the extension of his personality. I think sometimes it's a defense mechanism for him to distract him. But Terry's most of this stuff is harmless. But in the wrestling business, the gossip and the innuendo and the dirt and all this other stuff is such a vital part of the underbelly of what many of us have spent our lives in. And sometimes when you walk through shit, you can't help but get a little bit on your shoes.
Well, that's fair to say. Scott Ingram wants to know, you may have covered this before, but what was up with The Undertaker being called Booger Red during his American Badass run?
Well, that was my nickname, Scott. I had discussed this before. In in Texas college football lore, Texas had a linebacker, a middle linebacker by the name of Tommy Nobis, Nobis. He was the first draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons. Tommy had red hair, had a size 20 neck, and they called him Booger Red. Booger Red was the red because he had red hair, as did the Undertaker, by the by. And booger is a word, if you look it up, it's like a goblin or a ghoul or a manifestation of some spirit, evil spirit. So that's why Tommy Nobis got the name Booger Red. So here I see I think it was during the Undertaker's, maybe it was under that American Badass era, and I called him Booger Red. And it caused an amazing uproar backstage. I don't think Mark gave a damn. Oh, but nobody else. What's it mean? We don't know what it means. You guys are, you're actually listening to my commentary? I'll be damned. It's stupid. So I quit using it. They got too much backlash internally because they didn't create it. And a lot of those big nicknames, Texas Rattlesnake, the Cerebral Assassin, a lot of those things were my stuff. So anyway, didn't go anywhere. I was on the wrong side of the aisle, Conrad. You know what I'm saying?
Francis Reyes wants to know, what's the worst hotel you ever stayed at?
Oh, Jesus. There's a one in England I stayed at. The Jury Inn, Juryin. I can't remember what town it was in. It might have been in Manchester. It could have been in, oh God, maybe Manchester or, I don't know. Somewhere on one of those, when I was doing these, the Q&As, stage shows. I love doing those when I can. But we were on one tour and we stayed at the Jury Inn. I saw more call girls and pimps in that place. At least that's my suspicion. Let's say it this way. I saw what I perceived to be more ladies of the night. And I remember getting in my room. I could sit on the end of my bed and reach and change channels on the television. That's how small it was. So it was like my bed was like the bottom of a bunk bed. It was horrible, small, depressing. Couldn't wait to get on the train the next day. Then made everything all better. Yeah, Jury Inn was the one that's most memorable that I thought was a little hotel hell type thing.
Last one. Reamster wants to know, if you could say any one thing to Jim Herd, what would it be?
Oh, how you doing? How you feeling? He's old. I just can't. I feel bad for some fans that think it's important to carry this negative shit forward. And I love wrestling fans. I'm still a diehard to my bone marrow wrestling fan. And I was like that for much of my fandom and my years as a fan, until I realized that's just stupid. Why worry about something that was perceived to be whatever it was? I didn't know what it was. Herd was not a positive guy. He had no product knowledge. He tried hard. He had the right ideas as far as having a work ethic. He wanted to be involved, but he had bad ideas. It was all subjective anyway, but none of them worked. He wanted to make changes he was not prepared to make for change's sake, which I say all along in wrestling, change for change's sake is bullshit. What's the reason for change? How is it going to better us and further us down the road? Or is it just change for change's sake? Well, we got to do something different. Well, give me a plan. Figure it out. It's not a knee jerk. So, but that's, I would say, I often think about that guy, how he's doing. Is he healthy? Life things, real life stuff. So, but I don't have any driven animosity for him. And Connor, you and I are going to talk about our t-shirt business.
Yeah, listen, I wanted to save that for the end because you got a little bit of criticism. If you're out of the loop on what we're talking about, go to jimrossshirts.com. That's JimRossShirts.com. We've loaded a lot of new fun shirts up there. There was a fellatio shirt that says, I can't spell it, but I know what it means. Just effing wrestle. It always comes down to cash and creative. Thimble nuts. I'm the wrestling expert. You can kiss my dimpled Oklahoma ass. A really classy shirt with just the shape of the state of Oklahoma and Jim Ross in cursive. How about American Airlines can't get your luggage to the house on time? Red Ass Wrestling Commentary, bringing you a case of the red ass every Thursday. I like wrestling and wrestling likes me. Just in time for the holidays, the Jolly Bastard, sort of ugly Christmas sweater style shirt. But the three that everybody is talking about right now, goes back a couple of weeks to our conversation where you addressed the Comic-Con that Seth Rollins took a question about Kenny Omega, and he took a couple of shots about the minor leagues and the major leagues and comparing AEW and WWE. And your famous quote from that was, maybe one day you'll be as over as your girlfriend. That's a shirt. And then last week we have two new shirts, Grill Slayer with grill it down instead of burn it down. And then of course, instead of Seth freaking Rollins, famously at the beginning of the year, we heard Cody Rhodes refer to you as Jim fucking Ross. We have a JF&R shirt that looks eerily similar to the Seth Rollins shirt. And man, there's a lot of people who didn't think that was humor. They thought that was petty bullshit. Let's say you.
Yeah. Oh, I was amazed by this. I mean, to me, it's obvious. It's a business opportunity. No more, no less. Taking advantage of what the social media world has created. Well, obviously, we originated it and we helped it along without a doubt. But the social media world picked it up and ran with it and took it to other places that we were not going. So there you go. So it's a T-shirt. It's a business opportunity selling T-shirts. And look, here's the thing, folks. I got not one ill thing thought about Seth Rollins. I hope that he does great. I really do. I enjoy watching him perform. There are things I could really help him with if he ever asked me. And I was saying that to be a turd, but somebody's got to tell him the truth at some point in time. And there are small things he could fix to be even bigger and better than he is. Most of it's psychological and things of that nature. But nonetheless, I wish him nothing but the success. And everybody else in the business like me that's making a living doing what they love. But if the shirts don't sell, guess what, folks? Conrad, we know what we're going to do, right? They're gone. If they sell, they're up, and we keep them. If they don't sell, their ass is out of here. It's not hard. But during this holiday season, there are interesting gift ideas. So JimRossShirts.com. Well, we got a lot of websites, Conrad. I don't know how you guys keep up with all that stuff.
We should mention too, I'll take the heat on that. These two Seth Rollins shirts, those were my ideas. We came up with it at the AEW show the other week. We're just sitting around shooting the shit and catering. And I said, oh man, what about a Grill Slayer shirt? and then, from there we just freestyled. Well, man, Cody calls you Jim fucking Ross. He has a Seth freaking Rollins shirt. We should do that. Guys, we're trying to have fun. We have the Austin 316 shirt and the NWO shirt and the Hulkamania shirt. Those have been sort of parodied for decades in a weird way. It's an homage. Like this, we're not shitting on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and everyone listening to this knows it. So let's not overthink it. Let's have a little fun with this. We hope that you guys have had fun with this special Q&A episode.
Hey, Conrad, I got to mention, last week I was scheduled to go out to Southern California. The folks, great people at Island Empire Toy Store were bringing me out for a Dave and Buster's appearance in Ontario. I got a notice on Thursday from American Airlines, a warning, essentially, that my flight could be hazardous or whatever they said. They're telling me basically flying into the fire was probably not the greatest idea, that there's a chance I could be diverted or delayed or the flight could be canceled. And so we collectively, my team, decided I would not risk flying into the fire and that we would reschedule it. So I want to apologize to the folks there at Island Empire Toy Store. They're very understanding. They got it. They know, they live there. They know what's happening. So for all you folks that are out there in Southern California that are having these issues, we thank you for listening to our show, because I know you got a lot more important things to do. But if we can bring you just a little bit of entertainment and some fun, that's our job. We just want to have fun here, maybe enlighten you a little bit, inform you some. Like today's show is more information, and then sometimes it's more humorous. So it's a variety show that we love doing, and as long as you're enjoying it, and many of you are, which we're grateful, we thank you. So for you folks in Southern California, just keep up the good fight, man. We're thinking about you.
We absolutely are. And we look forward to next week. We're going to be sitting down to talk about one of the best shows of all time, Clash of the Champions 9, New York Knockout. Make your plan to join us next week. We're going to be sitting down on the 13th, just 2 days prior to the 30-year anniversary. And man, what a show that was at Troy, New York. The main event, of course, one of the most famous matches ever, an I Quit match with Ric Flair and Terry Funk. And underneath that, Lex Luger and Brian Pillman, the Steiner brothers and the Skyscrapers, the Super Destroyer and Dr. Death, the Midnight Express and the Dynamic Dudes, Doom taking on Eddie Gilbert and Tommy Rich, and the Fabulous Freebirds, unbelievably in there with the Road Warriors. This is a fun show. We hope you guys will check it out. Of course, that main event got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer. And speaking of Meltzer, he's going to be in town this weekend, man. StarCast 4 in Baltimore. Can you believe we've got Jim Crockett himself on stage? That's like never happened before.
That's a great booking. I'll tell you, big boy, it's a great booking for you. I think fans should be there in the audience. The questions you can ask, the interaction you can participate with is once in a lifetime. Here's the thing. I'm not being a negative Nelly or whatever the hell they are. I don't see this environment ever happening again. I'm not wishing you ill, obviously, folks. Come on. But think about it. It hasn't happened until now. Is it going to happen ever again? Unlikely. So Conrad got the stars aligned, and this is going to be an amazing afternoon. So I'm amazed by it. When you told me you booked it, I said, "Oh, come on, that's brilliant." So I can't wait to listen to it myself. And folks, take advantage of this situation, man. If you're in Baltimore, Washington D.C., whatever, good Lord, and a wrestling fan, and to ignore what we're doing with StarCast in Baltimore, shame on you.
Come check us out, man. StarCast.com. And just because you listen to this show, use promo code JR and you're going to save a boatload of cash on all your meet and greets, including Sting and the Red, White, and Blue. We've got the Great Muta, of course, John Moxley, the Young Bucks, Cody, and all those folks are going to be on stage telling their story, including Moxley sitting down with JR. That's going down on Friday. You don't want to miss it. If you're a fan of AEW or you're a fan of the old school, this is the wrestling fan's dream. And we get things kicked off tomorrow night. And the rumor and innuendo is you're actually going to be at Tony Schiavone's birthday party.
I am. I'm looking forward to that. Some of my Ravens buddies may show up. You never know. A lot of Oklahoma Sooners play for the Ravens. One of my good friends did a pretty good job play calling the other night. He's just doing a great job there for those dudes. Greg Roman. And he's a big wrestling fan. Boy, he could win a wrestling trivia contest. Greg Roman, of the offensive coordinator, called the play caller for the Ravens. So I may hook up with him, but it's great. It's going to be a great time. Jimmy's their atmosphere is so wonderful. The food speaks for itself, folks. I mean, seriously. I mean, we bullshit about this, that, and the other. I've never had better crab cakes in my life than from Jimmy's, and that was even including getting them shipped to Oklahoma. That was a big treat for Jan and I. She loved them, and she was a very discerning eater in that respect. So, great. It's going to be a great time all the way around. And Schiavone on Thursday night, the karaoke, the personalities that'll be there.
Yeah, I guess we should mention this is like a low-key roast. We've got Dan St. Germain, a very famous funny man who's notorious for his roasting abilities. He's going to be there. We've got some surprise guests from Tony's past. You'll get some photo op opportunities with Tony Schiavone. That'll be pretty fun. And an incredible spread from Jimmy's. It's all included, one low price. You even get to stick around for the karaoke with a live band. Tony Schiavone is going to blow it out for his birthday. That is his actual birthday, and it kicks StarCast off. You don't want to miss it. Go to starcast.com right now. Don't forget to use that promo code JR. If you're going to miss any of this great stuff, man, you can watch it all from home at starcastonfight.com. If you pre-order today, you're going to go ahead and get not just StarCast 4, but you're going to get StarCast 1, 2, and 3. It's an incredible amount of content for one low price, and you don't want to miss it. StarCastonfight.com is where you need to go. That's StarCastonfight.com. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave us a review. And if you've got a question about Clash of the Champions 9, New York Knockout, go ask us right now on Twitter. It's at JR Grilling. That's at JR Grilling. Until next week, we'll see you right here every Thursday, only on Westwood One, for Grilling JR with the voice of wrestling, Jim Ross.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.